I'm entering the iPad competition. I don't really care so much, but having an opportunity like this to talk about gambling in such a way it's quite important. People dismiss the claims, or they play off the idea that, just by putting $1 in a machine, it's harmless. It's alright. Everyone does it. You might have have a bet at the races, you might have a couple of drinks, put $1 in a machine, see if you might win. That's when, you might have a few more drinks, that dollar leads on to $1, leads on to $2. Next thing you know, putting $100 through the machine. It's, people dismiss the idea that gambling is just somewhat of a... that people think the idea of gambling isn't so much of a problem in Australian society, it's something you don't see. Gambling is the most destructive thing in Australian society. I've seen drugs, I've seen alcohol, and I've seen gambling. I've worked as a bartender for a very long time, and I can tell you, I've seen all sorts of stuff in a venue, but nothing has hit me more hard in the heart than seeing somebody get dragged out of the pokies by a loved one, a family member, or the police because they've left their kids in the car. It's disgusting. I mean, there are people who will go to the pokies venues at a pub or a club, leave their kids in the car, and run their money through the pokies. And they will stay in there for hours and hours until the police come after they've been notified by the venue, and the kids are taken out of the car and put into welfare or government protection. It's a disturbing thing. I've seen it firsthand, and it makes me sick. And the idea that Australian society is just, we play off alcohol and gambling like they're no big problems, I've seen it. I've seen people dragged out of there crying. I've seen people go broke. I've seen violence erupt. I've seen people steal. I've gone to Crown Casino in Victoria and seen people pull out wads of cash like that to put it on the thing. Money that they've probably borrowed, or they've stolen, or they've committed crimes to get hold of. I mean, the idea that gambling isn't a problem is a joke. I mean, it's disgusting. It's the most destructive force in society. People lose family members, people lose their cars, their homes, everything. People end up with debt with the casino by borrowing more money than they have. It's the whole rush of an idea that a quick, cheap thrill, watching that thing spin around on the roulette table, while you've got that money on the table, all the hyper, and all the thrill and the rush, and then you might win, and there's that win. You might have won $50. You might have done a line bet. You might have put $150 on the table. You might have lost a 50, but you've won back 100. The idea of, gambling not being a problem in society, people have a few drinks, next thing you know, they've wasted $300 on the pokies. They might not have enough money for the rest of the week. It's disgusting. And, having an unregulated, not so much as unregulated, but being allowed to ignore people while they're in the pokies, tucked away in the corner of the room, gambling away all their money. We're talking about pensioners. They don't have this sort of money. It's horrible. It's wrong. These poor old oldies, they probably don't even understand that machines are designed for you not to win. You have more chances of being hit by lightning than winning the jackpot on the pokies. You have more chances of being hit by lightning than winning in Keno or Lotto. You cannot win the lottery. It is impossible. You hear about these 1 in 100 million people winning, the Euro Millions in Europe, Lotto in Australia. Sometimes I even question the fact that if these people are even paid actors. I question that sometimes. I have never met a single person who has won the lottery. I have never met a single person who's won a jackpot on a machine. I have never met somebody who's won more than $2 from a scratchy. The idea of winning free money is a joke, and it has to stop. It's a shocking thing. And now, people think that, 1 or 2 drinks while you're at the pokies. People who are intoxicated, they have no limit. They have that lack of inhibition. They will go and they will spend that money that they don't have. And when you see somebody get dragged out of a hotel by police or by a family member, and you see the emotions running high, you see the screaming, you see the pain, you see the person trying to make excuses for themselves, as, oh, I was only here for, 5 more minutes, and then they're going to explain to their loved one or to somebody else about why they don't have the money to either get the taxi home, why they can't put the food on the table, why they can't pay for their bills, and the next thing you know, they're broke, they're left with nothing. They're cheating. You hear about people stealing from work to feed their addiction. You hear about people stealing, committing acts of burglary even, to feed a gambling addiction. I mean, I've heard of a lot of addictions in my life, but this has got to be the worst in society that I've ever heard. You're hearing about people who are losing millions of dollars in some instances. People who are in debt with casinos so much that they will lose their house. They will lose everything. Now, in my own personal opinion, I don't believe that people should be allowed to operate a pokies machine while they are under the influence of alcohol or anything. People need to also take breaks. The problem is there is nobody out there to say to somebody, you got to take a break. How about a glass of wine? Not even just a glass of wine, maybe just take them away. Here's a free complimentary meal. Sit in front of the TV for a little while. Take a break. But there isn't anyone like that. There's no one like that. People are left to the machine. The machine will dominate them. It sounds like a joke. Go into a venue. Take a look around. Go to a casino. Take a look at the sad and sorry people that are out there who are losing their money on a daily and a continuing basis. We're talking about pensioners here. Old people. These people don't understand so much. They're bored. They haven't got it yet. There needs to be more social services to take care of these people. People who are pensioners or people who are disabled should be interrupted on their gaming venues or whatever. They need to be stopped because they don't have the inhibition. They've lost their inhibitions. This is a really emotional issue for me because I've seen it firsthand and I hate gambling. I don't gamble. I mean, sure, putting $1 on the races, that's perfectly fine. You might win $10, who cares? But when you're talking about hundreds and thousands of dollars, it's disturbing. And the lack of support that is out there for people who have a problem with gambling is just plain down disgusting and wrong. Now, I don't expect that I'm going to win this iPad or whatever. I don't care. I just want the message to get out there because it is plain wrong and it is disturbing. Once upon a time I did have a gambling problem, I admit it. I used to go into a venue underage at one point, and I would play roulette, and yes, I did do the black or red, odd or even, and I did do line bets. Sure, I might have lost, $1,000 until I realised this is not the way to go. This is not the way to go. How am I even supposed to do these sort of things anymore? Now, when I go near a pokies venue, I feel sick to my stomach. I've seen it, and people who are favouring the machine, pyramids or whatever, there is nothing special about that machine. It is just completely different, maybe in a little tiny set, but it is the same principle. If the machines were designed to let you win, everyone would be millionaires by now. The fact is, they're not designed to make you win. They're designed to make you sit there and keep feeding the damn machine money. That's it. That's all that it is. It's sad. I'm not reading a script. I'm just saying this is just flowing from here because I've seen it firsthand and it makes me mad as hell. People don't have an idea. People can't even grasp the idea of a gambling addiction until they see one firsthand. So I challenge you, go out to a venue, go out to a pokies venue, go out to a casino and take a look firsthand for yourself about the people who are putting the money in and losing lots. You'll see them out there. You'll see old people losing $300 every hour. They don't have this sort of money. And the idea that, they're working on a credit system, they're having to pay back the casinos on payment plans in some instances. It's just wrong. I mean, get your mind around it. I mean, as I said, I have seen people with drug addictions, but I have never seen anything more destructive than gambling. It affects the ones you love. It tears families apart. I mean, You have no idea. People just generally have no idea. It's one of those problems in society, in Australian society in particular, that people just put into the corner and think it's fine. It's safe. You know, you don't take it. It's not a drug. It's not this. It is a drug. It's a psychological one, and it is shocking. It is the most addictive thing of all time. People just think, look at this, packet of cigarettes. People think this is addictive. This lasts me more than a week. More than a week. I'm not even addicted to this stuff. I could set fire to the whole packet right now, and I wouldn't even care. But somebody who has an addiction to gambling, you got no idea. It's shocking. Hope you like my little video. I know it's not the greatest, but you know, I hope the message gets out there. Thanks for that.